you reject the idea of naturally gifted children, it's because you're an idiot. Some kids are gifted, period, end of story. Some kids have higher IQs than others. And shock of shocks, it turns out that there is a heavy, heavy genetic component to that. That if both parents are neuroscientists, there's a good shot that their kid is going to have a higher IQ than somebody, both of whose parents are on welfare. Okay, that is just the...
Wait, what? What the fuck? That's literally not even true. Even the notion that like IQ inherently is just like a fucking idiotic metric for anything. Bro, that is just like straight eugenicist arguments, dude. The entire point of a fucking Common Core, like public education, national curriculum is to level the playing field. IQ is greatly impacted by your material conditions.
Yo.
There are studies that have been conducted in India, for example, where the same people's IQ levels or similar groups' IQ levels have been tested in months in like drought season where there was major famine.
How many chainsaws you think?
And when people were actually well fed. And the IQ the IQ fucking numbers have dramatically shifted in that process because it's not like a hereditary advantage that people have. It's more so about your surroundings, okay? Your material conditions. Are you well fed? Have you gone and gotten the best kind of education? Tying welfare to like hereditary predisposition is insanely racist. This is like the nerd's equivalent. This is the nerd version of saying the N-word. Okay? That's it. It's literally just the nerdiest way of being of saying the N-word and being like mega racist. I took a DNA test recently. Turns out I'm 60% welfare.
I like to get...
There's a site that predicts your income based on zip code in the United States here. Yes. It is a way better predictive force. Your future income is your zip code that you were born into is, or that you grew up in, is a better predictor of your future income than anything else. I wonder why. Those are not mutually exclusive. If you're starving, you can't think right, but you're not going to be a genius if you just eat really well. I wonder if there's like a way to make sure that we maximize the geniuses, though. You know? If you want to think about it from like the most productive way possible, you're missing the point. The most productive way of looking at this from an even hyper-capitalist POV is to ensure that equality of opportunity is truly achieved by leveling the material conditions in the bottom side as best as you possibly physically, humanly can, so that a kid growing up in like India in fucking famine season has access to the same fucking resources and can be one day a fucking incredible engineer and a mega genius rather than die because they couldn't fucking feed themselves. Okay? That's the point. Also, high IQ isn't the only component. Many people with lower IQs but better personalities excel more in their career. Of course.
Whatever
but
job it gets.
If you have to take the average person and all you know about them is child of two neuroscientists versus child of two people on welfare in a free American society, and all you have to go on is that, whose kid do you think is going to have the higher IQ? Okay, so to pretend that that doesn't exist in real life is stupid. It's just dumb. It's like saying that two tall parents are not likely to have a height-gifted child.
Holy shit. He's just straight up saying that, like, IQ is a genetic trait passed on. It's two of the underlying premises that are completely fucked up and wrong here, the hidden premises that he's operating off of. One, IQ is like measuring your intelligence and therefore measuring your success, and it's an important metric when it's not. That's wrong. And two, it is a trait that you are passing down, okay, to your next of kin. This is just straight the fuck up a eugenicist line. This is why Sam Harris had the bell curve guy on. You know what I mean? Because like IQ is the neat little bow that ties racist people's beliefs together. Okay, because outside of that, like racism is ultimately like a very spiritual thing. There is not really like any materialist understanding of racism, so you have to ground your racist worldview with like some kind of scientific explanation, which is how you arrive at race realism, which is how you arrive at scientific racism, eugenicism, and the like. So that's precisely why the bell curve is such an important piece of work for racists, because this is like their theory. You know what I mean? This is the way that their world finally makes sense. Yeah. The pro-slavery scientists had the same idea a century ago. Exactly. And it was fucking destroyed because it's not real. It's not a real thing. IQ is literally linked multiple times to access to education and environment more strongly than genes. He's literally quoting outdated and disproven data. Yes, your IQ literally swings wildly when you don't have enough fucking food in your stomach, dude. It's so stupid.
Yeah, but this is what California wanted to teach. They recommended against shifting students into accelerated courses, and because they want to punish skill sets. They want to defeat the skillsocracy. The last thing you want to do is reward people who are gifted, who, by the way, should use their gift on behalf of society in a free market society. Free markets allow people to distribute the uses of their gifts widely. This is the magic of free.
Literally untrue, okay? First of all, the free market is a unicorn. It does not exist, okay? It's as real as, like, you know, the Tooth Fairy or Santa Claus. There's no such thing. But besides the point, let's say there is such a thing, okay? The closest we have arrived to the free market is what with the system that we have here in America, right? Shouts out to Ronald Reagan and neoliberalism internationally. But a neoliberal economy, the pro-capitalist, pro-free market neoliberalism, has created a system that has such vast levels of income and wealth inequality that you are literally
2 months before
making sure that just like the most efficient distribution of commerce, the most efficient distribution of life-saving necessary resources, whether it be medicine or fucking food or shelter, is allocated to those who can pay for it rather than those who need it. You're doing the exact same thing where you reduce productivity of your labor force because you ultimately are not creating equal opportunity for people under that free market system and basically creating a top-heavy structure where those who are recipients of intergenerational wealth or those who come from more affluent backgrounds have access to better resources, have access to then go into better schools overall, have higher IQs on IQ tests, even though it's like fucking nonsensical and silly and doesn't matter. And you're destroying opportunities of, like, I don't know, a child born in South Central to actually maximize their potential. You have no fucking clue how good that kid could do. You have no fucking clue how good some kid in the south side of Chicago would do. Okay? Because you have never even wanted to create a system in which that kid has a similar structure, a similar type of education, and a similar fucking like experience growing up in more formative years. So this notion that, like, you know, this is actually a equal opportunity system is bullshit. That has never happened. I didn't even fucking focus on what Ben Shapiro was criticizing because, like, 90% of the time it's a complete misdirection and it's like completely fucking made up. I don't even know what he's like criticizing. And I basically just focused on his idiotic take on, like, IQ and race realism. His understanding of genetics is from the 80s. No, his understanding of genetics is one that reinforces his worldview. That's the point. None of these motherfuckers actually care about anything that they're saying as long as you can, like, justify having a fucking horrifically antiquated worldview. Okay? Equal opportunity, boys. Actual equal opportunity. Not the one that, like, America has said that they have, but real equal opportunity is at the heart of, like, is at the heart of what Marxists should strive for, okay? I know that it's bastardized, but, like, ultimately, people try to say, like, whenever you advocate for equal opportunity, a system in which, like, a lot of the needs that you have are solved, then your material conditions are as equal as possible, so you can actually fucking thrive. Like, people literally look to that and say, that's actually equality of outcome. No, motherfucker, that's not equality of outcome. That's equality of opportunity. We've never had equality of opportunity. Shut the fuck up.